Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. It's been a while, but it's going to be a good one today. So don't forget to leave comments on the side if you got questions. So we got Chip and Raymond here, or Reggie, as they like to call him in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. It's good to see you.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, no worries. So are you guys mortal enemies now, or are you
Oh,
No,
no, I love
best of
Chip.
friends? Okay,
Look, he's
good.
all teary eyed just because he misses me.
no, he's. I think that Raymond and I have actually become internet. I don't know, pen pals or whatever. We bounce stuff off of each other about tuning or use of three spot versus one spot, and how three spot is an evil target and nobody should ever use.
What? What do you mean one spot?
No, depends who
But
you're asking the question.
yeah. Like you guys are on opposite sides of that scale, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
I've seen Chip launch 3 big fat aluminum arrows into the X, and none of them are damaged. So, there's some kind of witchcraft going on there.
there's gotta be. There's gotta be a little bit. I think that with all you guys that can even hit the X. So let's just dive into it. We got quite a few people listening already. Thank you very much for everyone that's joining. If you could just leave your name and just say hi to these guys in the comments wherever you're on, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. But today is a really cool day. These guys are the reigning champions. The pressure is on them. They just got done in Washington, not DC, but Washington, the state championship. Well, it's the world. What's it called? The World
Archery World. It's
Archery World.
yeah,
Archery.
it's four different shops under the same name, Archery World.
Okay.
They host Archery World Classic each year for several years, and that's what we got to shoot. And I'm glad Raymond came down because I think it added a lot of excitement.
Well, it made it world, at least anyway.
Yeah,
Right?
North America.
We had our Canadian presence there, Reggie.
Although lots of Canadians came down.
I saw
The few that
that.
I told about it that didn't go, they really did regret it.
No, I mean, if you can get down from how far was it your trip? You're in BC, right?
Yeah, it's like a 3.5 hour drive. Like, that's assuming that there's no border delays and traffic is relatively smooth.
Yeah, they still let
And,
you
and
guys in
that's not speeding.
right,
No
and that
speeding, too.
next year we'll see if they let you into the country or not. We'll see. Well,
You know what? It's funny because I've been threatened. It's like guys have told me like they're going to sneak some drugs into my luggage.
don't say
I can't
that.
come back.
Don't say that. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Oh my. First of all, sorry. Let's back up for a second. Hey, Merry Christmas to you two guys. I hope that you had a great holiday. You guys are continuing to have a great holiday. And for the New Year's, I think that's going to be great. I think. Are you guys looking forward to this? The upcoming. You're both going, I assume, to Lancaster. No, Chip,
I'm
not
not
you.
anymore. I originally was, but I'll let him talk, and then I'll tell you why I'm not going. And it's not
Okay.
because
Okay.
Yeah, definitely going to Lancasters. It's going to be a lot of fun. I feel like got to try and do a double. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone's won first place back to back yet, but gonna give it a try. But this year, I'm seeing a lot more European names.
mhm.
There's a lot more
Really.
international guys coming to this
Some
competition.
big names. Yeah,
Yeah,
Really? Oh, you know what? I haven't even checked the list yet. I'm just getting back into it. We've had quite a long work month, last couple of months for me, so it's been quite difficult to get into archery. But I see you guys are kicking butt. But before we go there, Chip, what's going on? You're not going to Pennsylvania this year?
yeah. Originally, Reagan and I had signed up,
Yeah.
but back in August, I work at Shields in the archery department. I've been working there full time. I'm actually transitioning to part time and going back to the city where I was. Um, but I injured my shoulder, workman's comp related with a bow, and I tore
Oh,
my rotator cuff. And I had been in physical therapy rehab for several months since August, essentially, and I was just released from it on Wednesday. I did have some restrictions that I could shoot up to 50 pounds, and my recurve's 40, so there wasn't any issue with that. But I just I haven't been able to shoot. And I was using the Archery World Classic as a litmus test for me. And I've told people that going into it, I knew it, that I had to see how stable I was on the qualification because that would be more indicative than the head to head. Head to head, anybody can have bursts, but the qualification, the 60 arrows that you shoot, that would be a better litmus test essentially. And I wasn't where I wanted to be. So I decided rather than have that expense of going across the United States, because it's completely across the United States for me. Yeah. I'd use this year to continue to recover and actually look at going to Reading. And that gives me some space to start back into my training because I have a regiment that I like and I haven't been able to do that regiment.
Yeah. But okay. Why don't we talk about the results? Why don't you guys walk us through you guys were head to head. It was exciting. First of all, Reagan's. Let's talk about your daughter for a second and how much she looks, acts, and shoots like you, like your twin, first of all. And then how great did she do?
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about your daughter a little bit, Dad?
Well, she's one of my number one fans and I'm hers. So she's really come a long ways. She's been shooting for, I don't know, about 3 years, pretty in depth into Barebow. And I've been her only person that has been coaching her. And she's been listening, which is a big step. And then we kind of modify how her specific body type is as opposed to somebody else or me. If you notice, she's got a very high elbow.
Yeah.
But that gets her in line. And there were some female compound archers back in the 80s and 90s, like a Becky Pearson or a Michelle Ragsdale, that had a very high elbow. And I think it's just to get them in line. It's based off of their physical dimensions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's got a draw that is, somebody had commented, very similar to the Koreans, so that's not me. That's some of this. Yep.
Yeah.
That's some of the stuff that she has picked up. And she has progressed a lot. A couple of years ago, she was a 210, 220 shooter, then a 230, 240 shooter. And now she's typically a 250, 260 shooter. And so each year she's gaining about 20 points. And a lot of that has to do with her being able to shoot, and she hasn't been able to shoot much either because I've been out, and then her work schedule. So that was another reason why she didn't go. She wants to, but
yeah,
maybe
she did quite well though. So she went to she was on stage. So let's talk a little bit about the format. I'm going to let Raymond kind of talk us through it, the format of the Washington shoot, and then just what you thought of the tournament in general.
Well, it's pretty well put together. I think the only thing that caught me by surprise was the fact that the shooting lanes were a little bit more narrow, right? So it was a little bit more narrow than I'm used to because with World Archery, you get a minimum 80 centimeters, right? For a big guy like me, it helps a lot. But I mean, it's limited space there. It's a small range. You want to get everyone together. I totally get it. I use that as like kind of part of my training. Just ignore it. I mean, if someone touches you a bit, whatever, right? We'll stabilize a poke here and there, whatever. It's all good. Otherwise, very smoothly run. The format's same as, I believe it was Lancaster. We had the 11s. Super smooth. Just super smooth. Same thing. It was almost the same as Lancaster. The only big difference was instead of 4 ends for eliminations, we only do 3 ends.
Yeah.
And that can kind of make or break because, with only 9 arrows, every arrow counts a lot more. So there's not a lot of room for error. If you're down points, you're down points. There's very little room to catch up.
Okay. All right. And then how did you, so take us through a little bit of, you were the number 1 seed. So what was your score?
He killed it.
Yeah, I know. That's why I want him to brag a little bit.
I mean, I think I shot a 6 I think I shot a 670, so 5 or 8 points lower than Lancaster's.
Yeah,
But,
570.
Yeah, I mean, given who was there, I felt like that score would keep me in the top 3, maybe top 4. But it kind of, part of me just feels like the scores have changed, right? I was expecting Chip to be right up there with me, and watching him shoot, he was there. Joel was there, but I think both of them had just a few bad rounds, and that might be what Chip was kind of talking about. And those few bad rounds kind of threw his score a little bit lower. But he definitely could have beat 570. Right? I posted that. I didn't feel entirely comfortable with this as a top seed score. And if Chip didn't have that little bit of a hiccup, I don't think that would have helped.
Yeah.
He set a record for he set a Barebow record for their shoe.
I can't, Chip. I'm trying to let him brag. I don't know what else to do other than say.
I'll brag on
Okay,
him.
there. Yeah, that's.
I mean, he shot the day before me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't get that because we were traveling. I didn't get to see him, but he shot that score. I'm like, crap. That's quite.
That's a big number. That's a big number. And they're using 11s there. They're using 11s. It's very Lancaster. I mean, when you listen to the announcers, they're. I feel like they have a lot of respect for the classic. Theirs is also the classic too, but they're saying that that could be as big or bigger, is what they're kind of alluding to. I think so. That tournament.
They're hoping to make it like a West Coast Lancaster shoot eventually, and it is growing every year. They got 200 some people this year. Last year we had a total of 50 Barebow archers. It was 30 men and 20 women or something along those lines. And this year our men's went up by 20%. We had 36. And the women's actually went down, but I'm hoping, because I love the shoot, I'm hoping that with podcasts like yours and then bringing in some very high caliber shooters like Raymond, and some other these other guys. I mean, you got Bodie Turner there, and you got Joel Turner there, and you got your
Big
friend
games.
the what's your friend's name? That's the Olympic archer.
Brian. Yeah, Brian
mean,
Maxwell, Canadian team.
Yeah.
You get this caliber of archers, and they have friends, and they encourage others that are rivals to come, and it's going to grow. And so it's a terrific shoot. It really is.
Yeah, I'm just looking. So the scores: Raymond, Reginald, 570 on 60 arrows. Joel Turner, 552. Rick McMurray. Am I saying that right? 548. Chip, you were 546. And
Joel and I were tied into the last round.
okay,
I shot a 25, and he shot a 31 or something like that. So
31.
something like that.
Yeah. Well, but big scores, but 570 just blowing it out of the water, Raymond. It's unbelievable. I want to try something here. Let me just. I'm going to share my screen. I want to kind of go over the match. I'm going to see if people can see it. So if you could please in the comments. I don't even know if I'll be able to see your comments. I'm going to try and share here. I'm going to see how I do this. Present. Share screen. Let's see if I can't do this. Archery World Classic 2024 finale. Let me see if this does it.
Waiting for that screen. I want to mention, the Barebow numbers are phenomenal at this event, and this is not including a bunch of the Californians. Like, a lot of them didn't come up.
Yeah, can you guys see that? Yeah, okay. So you guys can see it. So anyway, we'll walk you through it. I'm gonna try and get to the
fat butt.
Raymond Wang.
Raymond coming out on stage here. So again, it's Lancaster-esque. It's elevated platform. Some of the shooters were saying that it's a little bit higher, and then the target seems low when you're on that platform. I don't know if you guys experienced that or not.
As they're hanging the targets, we'll get
You're prepared to shoot.
It was a little lower than Lancaster.
Okay. And
Lancaster Archery Classic champion, correct?
that's right.
It was a blur, but I think that's what happened.
You know, Raymond, you're a funny guy. I think you just got that subtle humor, man. It's just, I love it to death. It's a blur. I don't know. I'm number 1 in the world, but it's a blur. So I'm going to kind of roll through this a little bit. I don't want it to be too boring, but I want to show the people who are just tuning in. Maybe they haven't seen it. We'll post a link to the shoot off, but it's quite good. And you can see Chip up here, and I'm just going to fast forward a little bit here. We'll get to the action.
Pretty sure I forgot something.
And you got that in your corner there. That's the Canadian Olympic recurve archer. Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Brian
You're coming
Maxwell.
down
He was
from
looking at
BC.
Lancaster as well.
Which part of BC?
Okay.
Southern
Right. Okay.
BC,
And then
Vancouver?
who's in your
Yeah,
corner?
Vancouver, BC,
Chip.
not
My mini me.
Vancouver, Washington.
Yeah.
I realize
Yeah,
now
she
I'm in
is. Yeah, she
Washington.
is.
I have to be specific.
Yes, she is. Okay. Hold on here. I'm seeing if I can't there. This is great. Look at that. Bam, just coming out. And so here's where it gets a little different. So you're shooting a single spot, and then Raymond, you're shooting 3 spot, just like back in Lancaster. And I think that there are some other people that are picking this up, and I think that there are some other barebow archers that are trying to emulate that, or they feel it's a good idea.
Just off the
I've seen Matt. He's been shooting a lot of 3 spot. I don't think it's really picked up in Europe. In Europe, everyone's still staying strong on the single.
Yeah.
And they typically, a lot of Europeans seem to shoot a small diameter arrow, it appears too. So
Yeah, and let's talk about those. That's where I was going to actually go. Chip, what are you shooting? What size arrows are those? Those are those Eastons, right?
yeah, they're the X23s and 2314.
The Barebow. I mean, the spirit's there. You guys are getting there. The seats aren't as full as what Lancaster would be, and it's not dark out. It's not very cinematic like it is in Lancaster. But I guarantee you, this was exciting match. You know, and you got those buzzers. You can step on those buzzers there in front of you. You can pick. You pick that one. What does that give you? That's a 12-pointer, right? Just below.
It's the Staples easy button.
Yeah, I know.
That was easy.
Yeah, it's the easy button.
No, coming into this final that we did, because there were so many barebow men, we were the largest class. And it was the first time I think that they actually had
show for these barebow enthusiasts out
2
there.
elimination rounds in order to get up to this. So we went to the top 16 and then the top 8, and then of course the top 4. So that was pretty neat. We got to off camera. We got to whittle that down.
It's part of the gig.
I'm just seeing if people can someone in the comments let us know that you can see the video that I'm sharing. It might be hard if you're on your phone. If you're on your cell phone, it's probably pretty crappy, but hopefully you guys can see it. If someone wants to go ahead and let us know. I don't see any comments coming in.
Yeah, after the first end, we were tied.
Okay, yeah, we're good. Yeah, so you get 29. Yep, good. Burnaby says you can see it too. All right, and again, we're not going to show this whole thing, but I think it's pretty okay. Mobile seems fine too, Keegan said. Yeah, and it looks like you guys are both either you shop at the same store or you're sponsored by Hoyt. I don't know if you guys.
I don't have any sponsors.
You got no sponsors? Like, is that choice or?
I'm just a bum.
You're the best looking barebow shooter there is out there.
Yeah, right.
You know, like you could be poster. You could like be the poster for Hoyt Archery. I don't know what's going on there.
I could be on the back of a milk carton. You mean?
Oh my god, that's funny. So it's 29. You both get up there and you nail 29s right off the get go. I don't know. Tell you guys both. I think Raymond, you said you were nervous. I don't know if you said you were nervous or Chip said. But how do you keep your nerves in check and then not just blow things like you have? It's such a small window that you have to be aiming in. Like, how do you keep it together and not shake out of your boots?
Just try to shake a little less than the other guy would.
Yeah.
I mean, these scores are not. If you look at the arrow average, they're a little bit low for both of us.
Really fun beating him because
Chip was nailing 30s in the previous elimination, right?
Yes.
I'm not saying I've done it. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
hypothetically.
and again, you don't seem nervous. You're cracking jokes. I think it's hilarious. You're lightening it up, kind of like Fawn does.
Gotta do it. He will go for it, obviously.
And let's take a look at the form. This is interesting. I want to talk a little bit about this. We talked about last time, Raymond. So let me get to a spot where I'll pause it here, and then just give me some insight on this.
Chips had advantage by being last. So
Well, while you work that up, you had asked about being nervous.
Yeah.
in this box.
My score was lower on the head-to-head this round than the previous one, and pretty much the brackets that I did, because of the respect that I have for him and knowing that the high caliber shooter he is, I was nervous. Anything's possible, as you can see. Anything's possible, and we were very close. It could have gone either way, especially if both of us would have shot the scores that we had been putting up.
Huge amount of respect, though. I mean, it was an interesting point, though, that Raymond, you brought up, like your average arrow score went down. I wonder if that's true also at Lancaster for people. I had never even thought of that, like, because obviously, putting up such a monster score and then coming here, you would think that you're nothing but gold. And I think you only did shoot 2 in the red or 3 in the red tops in this match. So, hey, let's talk a little bit about this anchor, non-anchor. It looks like to me. It just looks like a non-anchor to me, my friend. I don't know, but I want you to tell me what's going on here.
So what you can't see is that the palm plate has a piece of metal on it, and that piece of metal does contact my cheekbone. Right?
Okay.
It ever so lightly grazes me up, like under my cheekbone, and that's my anchor. A lot of people think that I used my finger on the mouth.
Yeah.
And being that I have a horrible habit of shooting with my mouth open. And so everyone's looking, it's like, oh my God, this guy's it's not consistent. Sometimes it's on his lip, sometimes it's above his lip.
But it just works. It just works. Can I ask another thing too? How long's your draw?
It's about 29.78, and depending on the grip itself, it can go up an extra quarter, right? I'm using a slightly more throated grip here, so it does push that draw a little bit more.
What bow are you shooting there?
Yeah.
And this is a Hoyt XD.
What is? Okay.
It's a Hoyt XD Axia maple limbs. Axia foam limbs. I love both the maples and the foam, but because I travel a lot for shooting, I decided to go with the foams. They're a little bit more stable in varying climates.
You must cut your arrows a bunch then.
Yeah, and it's people have actually asked me about arrow tuning and nodes. You'll notice that my arrow is extremely short. Yes, It does deepen my crawl. The benefits though is that my node on my arrow is technically in front of the arrow. So the node's between myself and the arrow point and the plunger.
So you get better, and the plunger. So you're saying that it less contact on the
less
rest.
contact, and it's right because where that node moves, if it contacts the plunger, it's going to knock that arrow out a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
So that arrow shaft is basically in line with the back of my riser.
That's really cool, man. That is it. Yeah, that's a short arrow. That's interesting. Like you said, you can see here that the crawl is quite significant.
What arrow is that?
It's the Easton RX7.
Which size?
It's almost time. Yeah, I've been shooting these ones for about 2 seasons now. It's about
what
time.
size?
They're 27s too?
23s.
23.
They're the 23s. I wish I could shoot 27s. I've tuned up a set of the X27s, and they shot really well. However, Barebow is not allowed to use X27s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me move ahead here because we're going to talk about we're going to analyze Chip here too. He doesn't get off the hook here. All right, let's talk a little bit about this. I probably could go a little bit further back. I think you're still not all the way back, but let's talk a little bit about this too. So, Chip, it looks like you're anchoring right on the corner of your mouth there. Tell us about that anchor.
So where my index finger lands is actually the third point in my contact. My primary, where am I? Is this part of my
Yeah.
hand against my
The C.
cheekbone.
Yep.
This part of my thumb against the back, and then the finger just naturally rests right there.
Okay.
And so you're right. It's just you got to pause just before I'm actually coming up into my face.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and
So it
get
looks like I'm lower than I actually am.
There you
Right.
go.
there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. So that was that a trigger almost or no?
I don't use a trigger. I use timing. And then we discussed that last year or earlier in the year,
Yeah.
that timing is very important. And actually, if you were to watch the previous match that I did, I led up twice at full draw because my timing was off or my mind went somewhere. And so I started all over, and it turns out that both those arrows were 11s that I led up on. So
Yeah. That was really that, and you would have got a big roar at the classic, but here it was a little bit. What's he up to? A little bit, but there's good Barebow people in there. I heard a bit of clapping, so hard to do. I mean, when you have that level of control, that's amazing. So you got short arrows, a little bit shorter as well.
they're 31 inches.
Oh wow, you have a huge draw then. You have a huge draw.
Yeah, I do. I have a 31-inch draw. Those X23s are 100 grain points, and I'm shooting about 40-ish pounds on the fingers, and so that's what they tune with. And I have been using these arrows since about a year and a half, 2 years. Primary reason why I had used them though is because they're heavy. And if I don't use a heavy arrow, I have a large crawl.
Yeah.
And it's not uncommon when I'm shooting VAPs that I'm down 11 marks at 20 yards with a Yoast tab.
Okay. Yeah.
And I prefer to be somewhere in the 5 to 6 marks, and that's what I get with these aluminums. But it's also a hindrance that if I don't completely expand, I will shoot low because they're a heavy arrow.
Heavy arrow. They drop quicker. Yeah. They will drop quicker. Well, you didn't make too many mistakes here, I'll tell you that.
Well, I had some low ones. I did have some low ones.
Okay. Low for you isn't, it's I'm lucky if I'm not in the ocean on a low one when I'm shooting. So, okay, let's move a little bit farther forward. So this is a nice executed fall through shot. You're getting into your back there. It's a nice execution, and there's a 9. I can usually fast forward this. I don't know why I'm not able to today. And there, that comes right in. A little bit right there. What happened? You think
little
that
collapse on my goal line.
little collapse, and then there's a little answered. You gonna shoot an 8? I'm gonna shoot an 8. You guys are just having some friendly back and forth. Don't get too far ahead.
That was not intentional.
Oh yeah, you pull out the glasses to see. Oh.
I'm adding up in my head. What do I need to do?
Another 8 there. Rare mistakes. I mean, I guess you're right, Raymond.
I think
rare.
One of the things is I use breathing as a tool for relaxation.
Okay.
Because Chip is such a fast shooter,
Yeah.
he doesn't leave a lot of room for you to breathe.
Yeah. So again, I want to try and get past all this. There's a little bit of talking, collecting arrows. So you guys seem comfortable up there.
I think that comes from experience. It's being able to shoot tournaments. A couple of years ago, I would have been visibly shaking.
Yeah.
Now, I'm nervous. As you can see, our scores are down, but
Yeah.
That's one of the benefits of being able to shoot tournaments, even if it's just local tournaments. Get out there and do it. Put yourself in those uncomfortable situations. I know that we train a little differently just based off of who we are. He does more online shooting than I do.
Yeah.
And when I do online shooting, I don't typically shoot as well. So that's something that I need to take a look at. It's just part of your different different training techniques.
So, but who won that?
Chip, 2 points.
Chip, good job. So okay. So Chip has Vegas and this Archery World. So those two things, and then Raymond, you have Lancaster. Those are the big ones. What do you feel like he's one up on you, and now you got to go back to Lancaster and crush him, or what? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about this? I'm trying to get some. Come on, there's got to be some animosity, guys. I don't like all this lovey huggy stuff.
I mean, it's hard. It's Chip. He's such a nice guy. But I mean, definitely, I want to get. I want to take one of those belt buckles.
Look at that. Yes. You don't. There you go. He's got Rat already.
Wow.
I got
He had
last
him ready.
year's too.
He had him ready. I told him to come on here and be aggressive. We're in a side chat without you in there, Reggie. We were like, come on and be aggressive. Don't let that Canadian take home, our American trophies, all our American trophies. Don't let that happen.
Yeah, I've only taken SoCal and Pan Am.
There you go. In your 4 years, what is it, 5 years, 4 or 5 years?
I mean, if it makes it feel better, I did all this year, so it was,
Yeah, it's good. Hey, I just want to give a shout out to the people who are joining us. So lots of really amazing archers, obviously here, and some really cool people. Barebow a cool class. Got a lot of great people in here. Melanie's here. Raymond, you came on. Here's Russell, Keegan, Mike Davenport, Kyle Maddox, Wayne's here, Mike and Karen Wholesome are here. Awesome people. Calvin Smock, Larry Butler, Kendra. Kendra? How do you say that name? Heffeling? I don't know who that is.
Oh, it's pronounced my bride.
Yes, the love of your life. The love of your life. Jared Moses here, competitor. That recurve archer. Sorry, man, I don't know your name. I don't know the handle behind that. Burnaby's here, and then Cindy Graham. Gus Sanchez is here, and Betsy Fetchler. And if you're here and you haven't said hi, please do. I want to give a shout out to all you guys because you're amazing for coming in and supporting these two guys. And I was kind of hoping Chip kind of laid an egg a little bit on me here because I thought he was going to Lancaster. I thought we'd have a little bit of time to talk about Lancaster, and I don't want to leave you out of the conversation. So,
Do it.
okay,
I'll tell you how I would have prepared for it.
hey, that's okay. We'll do so. Let me do that. Let me jump in with Reggie here on what his defending championship, the road to defending championship is going to look like. So, how about Raymond? Give us your. How are you prepping? How are you getting ready? You are the defending champion. There's some pressure that's got to be on you. You've already said some key trigger words to me. There's Europeans coming, and we don't really follow them that much. We don't know how well they're doing, but they seem to put up big numbers all the time. So that's pressure, man. Sounds like there's some pressure.
I think a lot of my training comes to just realization, right? I had an extremely great start to this year. Ended really well for me as well. But you don't always win those golds. I've taken 4 or 5 silvers this year, and silvers hurt. They hurt so much more than bronze. But it's just coming to a realization that we're all humans. I mean, using Eric as an example, he's a phenomenal archer, but he still falters like everyone else, right? Mm-hmm. Watching the Olympic recurve guys at the Olympics, Brady and the Kim, the Korean archer, you watch them shoot endless 10s against a robot, and when Brady and Kim shot against each other, the two of them, I mean, for them, it wasn't great, but it's top-notch shooting, and it happens to the best of us. It's just the pressure, right? So coming into Lancaster, it's a lot about figuring out how to zen out. What am I going to do for my shot cycles to make sure that no matter what scenario it is, I'm under pressure or I'm super relaxed, that I can put together the best possible shot.
Yeah, I think you gave a little bit away. I guess if I was your opponent, I would be like, I'd shoot as quick as I can, so you can't get your breathing rhythm down. But I love the
Maybe.
fact that you bring it all back to Zen, right? And that calmness, that stillness that you need to have to be a champion. And I think Joel says that a lot in his coaching, right? You have to be calm. You have to control those nerves. You're going to have them. How do you utilize them? To the best of your ability. So, with that pressure on you, are you prepping or training any specific way, whether mentally or physically, to get ready for January?
Sorry, what was that?
Sorry, how are you prepping physically or mentally to get ready for this January for your next shoot here in Lancaster?
Mentally, it's just, again, the big thing is figure out how to zen out and be as relaxed as possible, because archery is best done relaxed. In terms of physical preparation, I've been doing probably somewhere in the ballpark of 500 to 700 arrows a week. I've changed my macronutrients back into a ketogenic diet. I'm kind of on day 10 or 11 now, but the holidays does make it a little bit more difficult. So it's really just keeping it down, keeping those carbs and sugars down. Body's feeling great, inflammation's down, muscle seems to be recovering faster. So, putting what I can into it, probably incorporate a little bit of cardio into it just to help boost recovery times.
Yeah. Yeah. No, all good ideas for people, and good advice for people who are listening or trying to get ready for Lancaster. You have to have all that thing. You have to have mental, physical, and then it's just not just, it sounds like you're hitting the physical on several fronts. Let me go back a little bit, one more minute with you, and talk about the mental. You said you are preparing and getting into that state, but what does that mean? Like, do you do something else? Do you, are you spiritual? Are you religious? Do you follow any sort of teachings, or is it just all self-help, internalizing?
I guess psychologically, I believe in Buddhism as a philosophy, right? Teaches a lot of just letting go. So what if you hit an 8? That's in the past, accept it and move on. I also take on life and archery from a very stoic perspective, right? Try not to let my emotions fluctuate, whether it be highs or lows. Just stay as neutral as possible and just get the job done.
Yeah, you definitely have that stoic presence about you. So yeah, I'm going to just jump over Chip. You offered to give us a little bit of advice for people who are listening that maybe want to beat Raymond this year, have even a chance, even an opportunity to beat him. And since you're not going to be there, he's probably breathing a bit of a sigh of relief. I've got to be honest with you. So what stay at home, buddy. I hope that he's probably that shoulder. I don't want that shoulder to get better. No, tell us. So people who are joining us late, Chip's not going to Lancaster this year. Just got off a win at the Archery World Classic in Washington. But tell us how we could beat him, or tell us how you would get ready to meet up against a world champion like Raymond, or a Lancaster champion like Raymond.
Well, you got your work cut out for you, regardless whether it's Raymond or Eric or John Demmer or anybody, and you have to be at your peak. And that's why I'm not going. Because of the injury that I have been nursing through for several months, normally what I would be doing in my preparation is I start preparing for indoors in October. And I increase my shoot days, the number of days that I shoot. Typically, I'm anywhere 2 to 3, and I ramp it up to 5. 5 shooting days a week.
Yeah.
A lot of blank bail. That's part of my training process. I video from above and behind so I can see my release, so I can see the position. I'm sorry, I'm sick.
Yep.
The position of my shoulder, if my bow is casting forward. These are things that I look at, and then I do it from the side. I've discussed with you in the previous video that timing is very important to me. So I will shoot blank bail, and then I shoot 20 yards. typically shoot a 20 or a single spot target, but I put one on top and one on bottom. And I will shoot 3 or 4 arrows at the top, and I'll shoot 3 or 4 arrows at the bottom. Maybe 5 arrows at the top, 5 arrows at the bottom. Depends on what I have in my magazine, essentially how many bullets I got in my magazine. And I don't keep score. I only keep score when we shoot a league. And I use that as my reality check, because I'm not looking for scores. I'm looking for the shot. I'm looking for my shot process. And it becomes pretty apparent if you're having a bad practice day.
Yeah.
You know, if you're putting them outside of your typical area, then you continue to work on whatever it is. But I think early on, and I think Demmer had talked about this at one point in time, where the tune isn't as important when early in the season. It's reps. You've got to get your stamina built. And that's what I do. So I'll shoot and keep shooting, put in the reps, put in the time, and then check it once a week for my scores. I'll also do video on it, and I'll check it. If I see trends that I'm shooting well, I'll keep on doing it. If I see trends that I'm not liking, then I'll use even more video and try, because, you know, I have friends up here that I've taught how to shoot Barebow, but there's no coach up here. It's me. And so my dad, who's a very important person in my life, he and I will send videos of each other and looking for things that we might be able to pick out. Hey, did you know that your hand is flailing away from your face? And actually, you know, Ryan from the Archery World Classic picked up on something at one time during the qualification round. He said that my release was flying away from my face. Mm-hmm. And I appreciated that. You know, he didn't need to say anything, but he did. He came forward because he's a quality guy, and I started to intentionally. It's because I was not focused on this part of my process. Mm-hmm. Because I was struggling in other areas. It was a struggle for me this year. Just, you know, Randy Johnson, the pitcher. Yeah. There's days that he was a star. And there was days where we would watch him where he was into the 7th inning and given 110 pitches just to get through with everything he had. And it was a grind. It was a grind for me at the qualification. So, yeah. By going into Lancaster, what I would be doing is these drills and shooting drills, and then comparing the scores and kind of seeing where I was compared to Vegas of last year. Yeah. Yeah. I think when you said your hand's flying away, you know, so I would worry that there's a little bit of gamesmanship, you know, but that is sweet that they came in, they tell you, you know, like you know, when you're shooting 3D and the guy comes up to you and says, hey, is that bolt supposed to be there? That spot in your bow. But it was, I know. We helped each other before, so there was a relationship to allow for that. You know, if somebody came up to me and I have no idea who they are and they're mentioning something, that would have been inappropriate. But yeah. He and I are friends, so it was okay. Yeah, it's a good dude. So that it's kind of bummer. It's kind of a bit of a bummer that you're not going to be able to make it out. But you got to get healthy, man. Got to be healthy. Yeah. We'll do Reading, more than likely. Yeah. Do Reading. So I don't think Vegas is on the cards this year. Yeah, I was going to just ask. So Raymond, you have a whole regiment. Like, you're going to Lancaster, then right to Vegas, right? Correct? Right,
yeah.
After that,
but I mean, this year Vegas, there's a big gap in between.
There's a big gap.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
that's right.
There's a chance I might go to Chicago.
Oh.
Wow. Chicago World Series indoor. There's a chance. I haven't quite figured out if I will go or not.
Hey, so there's we've got about 36, 37 people in the watching. Can you guys ask if you got any questions? Now's the time to do it. I'll give you like 5 minutes. Just start pumping them in here, and I'll get the first 5 minutes, and then I'm going to let these guys get back to their Christmas vacation, their turkey leftovers, their turkey sandwich, their game of Monopoly with their family. So about 5 minutes. If you guys want to ask any questions, now's a great time to do it. We see a bunch more people jumping in too. So again, we're here with Chip and Raymond, two
guys just coming off an amazing Archery World Classic out in Washington. If you haven't seen the video, we'll link it here. It really is good. It's really fun to watch, Barebow and how great these guys get together. They're talking in between, and there's just not, doesn't feel like a competition, but it feels like two guys hanging out in the backyard having some fun. So I thought that was really cool. All right. We got one. I think we answered kind of, but we'll go back to it. How many arrows do you guys shoot each week? When you're healthy. Chip, you go first, I guess.
When I'm training, 300 to 500.
Ooh, 300 to 500. Raymond, what do you shoot?
So on a big week, I'll be shooting probably 5 to 6 days a week. I'll typically do about 120 arrows on a small day, and then the day after that, I'll be anywhere from 150 to 200. I'd say typical training week would be closer to about 700, and that's probably on the lower side.
Really?
If I'm injured, if there's like injuries or some kind of stress I'm feeling in my back, that week will probably come down to maximum 500.
Mm-hmm. So around 500 to 700. I don't even own that many arrows, so I couldn't do that.
I wish I could shoot as many as he's doing, even when I was healthy. I've had 2 shoulder surgeries. I've had multiple tears, so I'm looking long term.
He's a young man. He's a young man, though. He's a young man, Chip. We're ready for the senior
close.
leagues, pretty close. So he's a young man. Let's see. I'm gonna take some more. How did you move from a shot process as collection of parts to one smooth movement? This is a big question. If we could just kind of like a short answer to this, maybe. Raymond, you go first this time.
How did you move from a shot process as a collection? Okay, so for me, I try to keep everything as simple as possible. People will make fun of me, but like for me, the biggest thing is your set position. In set position, you are getting things out of the way, right? You're setting your hand, you're setting your bow hand tension, or lack thereof. You're setting your hook tension, and this way, once you're coming out of your set position and you begin to raise your bow and start to shoot, you don't have to worry about your hand anymore. Your back is already pre-engaged and you're just letting it come into position. The draw fingers, right? Your hook, you're only increasing enough pressure to keep that string from flying off, right? So I try to keep everything as simple as possible. That from set position to drawing the bow to anchor, everything is one fluid motion with as little thinking as possible.
Yeah. And another good way. So for everyone that's watching, just watch that video. You're going to see his shot process start to finish. Chip, how about you?
Well, as you see, I'm a pretty quick shooter. I don't hold on to it very, very long. And the timing, as I've mentioned, is a big part of mine. If everything is not in the process, I try to let up and start over. And I agree with Raymond that a lot of it is the pre-position.
Mm-hmm.
When I load the arrow up and I get my crawl, you'll see I swing my hips. I shoot a closed stance, and I close off my hips. I'll pull the bow up, and you'll see I kind of set. I'll lower my shoulder, I set, I draw back, get into my anchor. At this point, I'm ensuring, do I have my push going on with my left arm, getting my armpit essentially pushing towards the target, engaging my back? Is my right elbow up and back, rotating my shoulder blades, some tension in there? I check my string blur just to ensure it's out towards the edge of the plunger, because that's how with this current setup, how I do it. I make sure there's one more push that I'm on, and I release. And during that, I'm subconsciously aiming. I am aiming. I'm ensuring that the point is at the lollipop of the yellow, but that's not my focus. And that happens very quickly.
Wow. All right. Do you keep shooting on a bad day, or do you just pack it up and say, nah, not today?
Chip?
I'm sure I've done both. However, it is more important character-wise for me to push through and discover why I'm having a bad day. And I've told this to Reagan, as she's becoming a better archer, I've become less of an important person in her discovering what's wrong. If she can identify, because there's times where we're shooting on the line at the same time, she's having a problem. I can't diagnose anything. She's got to diagnose it, move past it. And she did that at the Classic, where she was just she had a mental block. Something had happened. She was having a mental block. I told her at one point in time, I said, your arrows are flying like garbage because you've got tension in your body. You need to release it. And then she just started. I think the commentator even talks about how her shooting just was back to where it should be and everything else. Having that kind of ability is what is the difference between a mediocre archer and a very good archer. Is you have to identify on your bad days what's going on and recover quickly. So you won't necessarily get that if you consistently quit when you're not having a good day. But there are days where you just hurt and you need to back off.
Yeah, that confidence is awesome. What do you say, Raymond?
So a lot of the same stuff that Chip just mentioned. There's no quitting. I treat all my practice days like I'm shooting a tournament. If I'm having a bad day, the day doesn't start off properly. It's figuring out why, and you just keep pushing through until those shots are what they're supposed to be and they're hitting the spot that you want to hit again. And like you want a little bit of harshness from me. It's
yes.
If you quit, that's not. I'm not going to quit because I'm not a loser, right?
Yeah.
Like I even if I don't win, you got to feel like a champion. You got to have that mentality of a champion. Champions don't quit, right? You have a bad arrow, keep going until you stop having those bad arrows.
I mean, that's a great point. I mean, if you come out there not thinking you're a champion, guess what? You're right.
That's the mentality that we use on tournaments. It's during the practices that it's easier to quit, but that's where I go back to the blank bail and work on what is going on. Why am I not shooting well? If I'm in my process and I start off with whatever 24, 30 arrows at the blank bail, and I transition over to the 20 yards and shoot two ends, two 30 ends. And if I'm not ending on a good note, I'll go back to the blank bail so that I have that positive reinforcement whenever I'm done. And then at the start of the next round that I do the following day, I'll start on the blank bail.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, I want to be conscientious of your time, and I really appreciate you coming on today and sharing so much of your knowledge. It's been amazing. For all the people that are listening, just one more time, if you could give these guys a thumbs up, just click thumbs up or heart or whatever, they would, I would really appreciate it. The channel would really appreciate it, but just say thank you very much for all the knowledge that these guys imparted on. Just a thumbs up. That would be great. And appreciate you being in the audience and listening to this. It's been amazing. You guys are champions, disappointing. We're a little disappointed, Chip, that you won't be there. Raymond, excited for you though, man. That two-peat. And I gave you a hard time about being Canadian, but I think everyone knows I'm Canadian. And that it's okay for Canadians to say stuff about Canadians.
Hey. My mother-in-law is Canadian, so I guess I can.
Yeah, you got a little Canadian. Yeah, it's all about Boxing Day, so I really do appreciate it.
Where's your toque?
Your toboggan. Where's your toque?
I can't find any of my toques.
Do you guys even have them out in BC? It doesn't get cold enough, does it? Oh, well, you do when you go up to the snowboarding and stuff like that. So,
I think it's like
just
outside.
You guys are.
Warm.
We need to like. Is there a Barebow Hall of Fame that we can? Burnaby was like, you guys are legends, but yeah, it's true. I mean, you guys are now. You guys have solidified yourself in the annals of history for Barebow. You're up there with some of the big names, and you are the big names, to be quite frank. And I love it. I love the fact that you're so humble and down to earth that you'll come and do this little stupid podcast I have them, and just share so much knowledge. It's incredible. So I want to thank you guys very much. Any shout outs to sponsors that we could give, Raymond, that you want to talk about?
Of course, Hoyt's been the big one for me. Even before they sponsored me, I wouldn't be in Barebow if it wasn't for Hoyt. Easton Archery, they've given me some of the best arrows I can possibly dream to shoot. Wujack, love their plunger. I love the adjustable center shot on the Revo. If I'm making it a little left and right off, I can tune with my center shot and not have to adjust my plunger tension. Borman's Archery, local shop, mom and pops kind of thing. They were with me from day one when I decided I wanted to start to compete. And someone I'm looking forward to working with in the coming years, Jaeger Archery. So
who's that?
You got your own grip yet?
Jaeger?
Yeah. Oh, Jaeger. Oh, you said Jaeger. Okay. Sorry.
Jaeger.
I missed it.
Jaeger,
Yeah.
Jaeger Archery products. Yeah.
You just said Jaeger. I'm looking
for.
forward to working with Jaeger. I know that my daughter does that every Friday night at the pub. She's all about Jaeger.
They're going to be a Reggie special.
Yeah. Just
Okay,
we'll
really?
see.
What
Yeah.
is there?
Hopefully
Come on, give us the
hopefully
inside
prior to-
scoop.
There's Paul's has a grip that he wanted to release, and we've talked about it. I've been shooting that grip since SoCal. I shot it at SoCal, so this is a gold medal gold medal bow grip,
Nice.
and it's been with me since then, and it's working out really, really well for me. Yeah, you guys we're just
that's
kind of working
great.
out the final details and working on the graphics on it, and hopefully we can get that out to you guys as soon as possible.
That's cool.
That would be awesome, and congratulations on working so hard to get those sponsors and being sponsored. It's important that Barebow gets that. Chip, you said you didn't have any, but you do have. You know what you got? You got family that supports you, and you're the family man, right? I mean, when I think of when I think about family, I think about you. I mean, honestly,
I appreciate that. That means a lot. It's, it always would be nice to be able to say that, you're sponsored by something. I have a lot of support from family. Mm-hmm. My work with Shields, they've been very supportive as well. But it comes down to just hopefully being a person of integrity and faith, and and that is translated to anybody, that if they need help, I'll help out, and I mean, just not much more to say. The 3 generations of Barebow shooters is very important to me.
Yeah, well,
my dad, so.
Yeah. Your daughter's success is your success. So I think that's amazing, right? As a father, I just think that's incredible. And Raymond, you got beautiful kids, right? They're young just yet, but I'm sure they're going to be rock stars when they grow up. That's something. They definitely got the athlete gene, that's for sure. So thank you guys very much. I don't want to belabor this goodbye, but it's so nice talking to you guys. It's awesome, man. So thank you very much. Again, thanks everyone that stopped by. I want to thank my sponsor, thepusharchery.com. Those guys are amazing over there. They got some great product. If you got a little bit of extra cash from Christmas, why don't you head on over there and pick up one of those cool pocket quivers they've got. It's pretty neat, pretty inexpensive too. Anyway,
go at Lancaster, Ray.
Yeah, go kill him at Lancaster, buddy. Go get him.
Yeah, I'll just go do what I do and see what comes of it.
Thanks, everyone. Have an amazing, amazing New Year. We'll talk to you soon. Hunt the good stuff.
Thanks,
We'll talk to
everyone.
you later.